you know this song?
Stay with me.
That's Miki
Matsubara.
Correct. And the impact this woman has had in music industries. But first, she took over Japan.
With city pop, the whole city pop trend basically started with her.
So I thought we'll do a deep dive on Miki. Unfortunately, she did pass away in 2004, but her mark and her legacy are still well alive right now.
I would even argue that it is more popular now in a global perspective than it ever was back in the 70s.
We're gonna analyze and deep dive into the song Stay With Me.
Stay with me.
We'll have a look at her background and how she landed onto these melodies, how she became as impactful as she was, and we'll give our verdict at the end. Born in 1959, a Japanese composer, lyricist, and singer from Kishiwada, Osaka, in Japan. She's very popular not just for that song, but also for participating in a lot of ending theme songs and opening songs in animes. Japanese music and animes, as we all know, very much intertwined. She had a bunch of hits reach hundreds of thousands of copies, and those were physical copies, ladies and gentlemen. Those weren't streams.
People were going to the shop, buying that record and playing it countless of times.
Something people don't know about her is that her mother was actually a jazz Japanese singer. So you can sort of see some of the influences, or perhaps her ability to be involved in much more musically complex or thinking outside the box, because that's what jazz is.
Correct. Obviously, when you think about city pop, you think about a lot of musical influences that kind of like collided in this really easy to listen to genre. It's still one of today's most popular and streamed genres in all the world.
Funnily enough, she also did have some international work be very popular with Motown jazz fusion group called Dr. Strut in Los Angeles. The name of the album and the recordings were For Cupid and Myself. So you sort of see the beginning and how she would get into jazz due to her mother and where it led to down in her career. Let's have a look at snippets of the song and then we'll discuss the details of it.
Ooh.
Hi-hats. And all of this
Very
would have been
nice.
recorded analog, not digitally.
Beautiful vocal opening.
Also,
Actually, Sando, Mr. Bass player.
also, this got sampled so much.
Oh, totally.
Ba, ba.
Also, I feel like you have to take into consideration every vocal here was done organically, no help for any software, and it just really goes to show how beautifully done everything is.
Yep.
そんな気もする
Yes, yes.
グレーのジャケ
It's that influence of like funk and jazz.
ットがあるコーヒー相変わらんのね
Very clear, open tonality.
に二人映れば
Sing it!
Da-da-da.
Stay with
に
me.
あのドアを叩き
Tataki.
帰られとないだ
Listen to those vocal stacks in real life.
が今目の前 with me
It was very important to choose musicians and singers that were capable of replicating the sound on a live environment, because the only way to get exposed to this would be either the radio, buying the record, or listening to it in the TV. So this was exactly what it was so important to focus on, a voice that was warm and welcoming and something that provided something completely new.
Well, interestingly enough, if you look at the type of vocal textures and vocal singers that were sort of very popular at the time, they all had this sort of similar timbre, especially if they were girls. And even in guys, vibrato for this type of genre wasn't really a big decision. You wanted that clear tone. You want it to be very funky, very rhythmical.
But
And
at the same time, very melodic.
correct.
Which is an antagonic perspective of what this genre actually is. Because if you listen to city pop, it has all the elements of funk and jazz, but at the same time is very easygoing. So those are the additions of like a wah-wah in the electric guitar guitar, so you're hearing that wah 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 situation in the guitar. It's a very clean tone from the guitar too, but you have a very a very rhythmical section in the bass that actually it complements really well with the pattern and the drums. And you have a combination of elements where the vocal line is very flowing and long in comparison to what you would expect from a funk track.
Also, listening to what other people have to say about Miki, she was very much popular and known because her music resonated with audiences on a profound level due to its authenticity and emotional depth. Her songs explored universal themes such as loss, love, hope, with a raw vulnerability that drew listeners in, which if you actually analyze vocals per se, that's what that clear tone is able to communicate. It's very much vulnerable, it's very much raw, it's very much a human experience, if you like.
But it's also a vocal tonality that allows you to connect regardless of the language, regardless of your knowledge, and obviously past time.
Something not many people know actually is that she struggled through her whole career with cancer. And even though she remained in the battle for quite a while, all her music always stayed uplifting, fairly, it never lost the rhythmicality aspect of it. But that's one of the reasons why she became so loved. And it's very, very awesome to see, due to the internet and the global aspects of the world now, how connected we are, to see that there's a resurgence of this song, and people are even intrigued in knowing more details about the singer or more details about the song.
恋と愛とは違うものだよと
Oh yeah, great usage of a synth.
言われたそんな気もするわ
That continuity in the background, just backing up her vocals.
二度目の冬が来て離れていった
It's that damn guitar that keeps that rhythmicality feeling. Very funk.
いつも
And the bass player, they do such great work.
感じていたの
Sing it.
Stay with me 真夜中のドアを叩き心に穴が
Also, her ability to replicate this stuff live,
Oh yeah, no,
unreal,
phenomenal.
son.
But you see, it's very common of the time.
Yeah,
in my personal perspective. Obviously, you have a vocalist that's very capable, but you need something. There wasn't help. There wasn't any software help.
Pitch correction,
or a pitch
auto-tune, none of that BS.
There was nothing in studio that couldn't be replicated live. Actually, in studio, a lot of artists of the time were capped in terms of like their abilities and their best performances were never gonna be in studio because they were so limited in comparison to what they could actually do on a live show.
Something that I've never done is actually have a closer look at the lyrics per se. To you, yes, my love, to you. I am only me, you're only you. I said that last night and I still feel the same way. You and your grey jacket with that familiar coffee stain, just as you always are. Our reflection in the display window. I do apologize if obviously a lot of the poetry or magic has been watered down, especially if you're watching this in Japan or you know Japanese yourself.
Obviously, it's never going to be as beautiful and as well intended as it is in the original language, but this will give you a really good ballpark idea of what she intended.
Stay with me, knocking on midnight's door, begging you not to go home.
Aww.
The season is right in front of your eyes. Stay with me. Saying our favorite words, holding on to our little moment. I'll never forget it as long as I live. They say love and affection are two different things. You told me last night, sometimes I think so too. Winter comes again and your heart has gone away. If I look back, I see that I could always
Feel you by my side.
feel you by my side. Come on, stay with me, knocking on midnight's door. It goes to repeat itself. Stay with me, distracted by my loneliness. The needle on my record player was stuck on a repeating melody. That's probably a play on the cyclical nature of the song.
Correct.
And then he goes on to repeat itself again. Watashi wa watashi, anata wa anata to. I love how Japanese sounds, bro. Also, something that people seem to, for some reason, never highlight. It's that Japanese as a language, because it's so syllabic in nature, it's so rhythmical naturally.
Correct.
Do yourself a favor, listen to Japanese rap, city pop, Japanese funk, Japanese jazz. It's so advantageous, and there are specific languages all across the world that are advantageous in specific genres. Japanese is one of them, and hence why city pop is mainly Japanese.
Well, the beauty of this composition goes beyond her vocal capability. It actually is a really well-rounded musical track, because you have the keys that do a lot of the piano, and the synthesizer is the same person who's playing both. It has a really good ear into what the melody of the vocals is doing. So instead of working against it, it works as a backdrop to highlight the melody and the continuity of her singing phrases, in comparison to what the rhythm section and the guitar are doing, which is very choppy, it's very rhythmical. You have a really good balance of sounds, and then you add a saxophone.
It's that funk beat.
Yeah, and then you add a saxophone to kind of like tie everything else with the elongated notes of something that gives you a bit of an edge of jazz. It's very 70s jazz if you think about it. And I think city pop even today is one of those genres that you can listen to with no resistance whatsoever.
Correct. Let us know what you guys thought about it. And if there's any other songs you'd like us to deep dive in, have a look at the lyrics, have a look at his historical component or the singers. Let us know in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Adios.